The film opens with a girl named Riley is born in Minneapolis and, in her mind, 5 physical forms of emotions are created: joy, sadness, fear, disgust, and anger. The emotions are charged with organizing Riley's memories, which are housed in spheres known as memory orbs. The orbs that are considered the most relevant, known as core memories, power 5 islands in Riley's subconscious, each reflecting a different aspect of her personality. Joy attempts to keep her happy, anger keeps her life fair, disgust keeps her from being poisoned both physically and socially, and fear keeps her safe. Sadness, however, doesn't think she has a purpose in her mind, or that of the other emotions, and is ignored as a result. Oblivious to sadness. Crisis. The other emotions focus on organizing Riley's memories. When Riley turns 11, her family relocates to San Francisco after her father Bill gets a new job. The emotions try everything in their power to make the moving process a pleasant experience, which is made difficult as Riley's father struggles in his new job. Things worsen when sadness inadvertently touches a happy memory of times with her parents, causing it to become irreversibly sad. Upon realizing that joy cannot fix the memory and make it happy again, she disposes of it and occupies sadness by making her read a stack of mind manuals. On Riley's first day of school, Joy orders sadness to not touch anything and let the other emotions do their job. The transition into the new school goes smoothly at first, but as Riley is introduced to her new class, sadness again touches a memory, causing Riley to cry in front of her class, this creating a new, sad core memory. Joy attempts to dispose of the new core memory via a tube which leads to long-term memory, where it could be dumped into the abyss, in which obsolete memories are erased. The ensuing struggle between joy and sadness inadvertently knocks out the rest of the core memories, which are promptly sucked up, along with joy and sadness, and sent to the outskirts of Riley's mind, leaving only anger, fear and disgust in charge, as well as causing all of Riley's personality islands to shut down. Joy and sadness exit the tube and find themselves at the edge of long-term memory, a huge labyrinth of corridors housing old memories which are stored for later use. Joy attempts to go through long-term memory to the nearest island in order to return to headquarters, but sadness, aware of their location, warns her that long-term memory is nearly endless and almost impossible to navigate without prior knowledge. Joy realizes that the manuals she had sadness read house the directions to the next island, so she drags sadness along to guide her through the labyrinth. Meanwhile, disgust, in an attempt to act like Joy, accidentally instigates a confrontation with Riley's parents, culminating in Riley's father sending her to her room. Later, in an attempt to reconcile, he attempts to goof around and cheer up his clearly upset daughter, but as the core memories are missing, Goofball Island is unable to activate, and instead crumbles and falls into the abyss forever. The 3 emotions at headquarters realize that attempting to use any aspects of Riley's personality without the core memories will result in the island being lost to the abyss. Meanwhile, in long-term memory, Joy and sadness encounter Bing Bong, a hybrid creature of elephant, cat, and cotton candy. As Riley's former imaginary friend, Bing Bong has been out of a job and roaming her mind since she was 4, and is delighted at the notion of helping Riley once again, and Joy promises to have Riley remember him once they return to headquarters. Bing Bong gives Joy his imaginary bag, which can store infinite objects without changing size, to store the core memories in, and claims to know a shortcut. He convinces the group that, rather than taking an island, which connects to HQ over a long, narrow pole that looms over the abyss, they should take the train of thought, and that he knows where a station is that the train consistently stops at before departing to headquarters. The shortcut proves dangerous, however, as Bing Bong inadvertently leads them into the center of abstract thinking, which activates in the middle of the group's venture, rendering them more and more abstract by the second. They barely escape the room, and miss the train by moments due to their close call. The next station that they can catch is accessible through Imagination Land, which Bing Bong leads them through. Back in the real world, Riley's life is beginning to crumble. She alienates her former friends from Minnesota, quits hockey after one failed goal and tryout, causing Hockey Island to fall into the abyss as a result, and struggles to make any friends in her new school. Anger, finally at his wit's end, proposes that if all of Riley's happy memories were made in Minnesota, then all they need to do is to go back to Minnesota. Meanwhile, in the depths of Riley's mind, the group comes across old aspects of Riley's personality and life from when she was a toddler. Among these is Bing Bong's song-powered rocket. Unfortunately, they arrive as her mind is beginning to erase obsolete memories such as these, and Bing Bong's rocket is accidentally dumped into the abyss by a group of workers. Bing Bong, dejected and heartbroken, collapses at the cliff leading to the abyss, and begins to cry. When he cries, due to being imaginary, His tears manifest as hard candy. Joy attempts to keep the moment positive, but is unable to comfort Bing Bong. Sadness, however, sits down next to her crying friend and soothes him while a bewildered Joy looks on in confusion. Finished crying, Bing Bong and the group depart towards the loading dock. At night, Joy and her fellow emotions finally reach the loading dock. Although it is now so late that the train of thought will not arrive until morning, they infiltrate Dream Production. And Joy, who does not want to cause Riley any more stress than she has already experienced, attempts to make Riley so happy she wakes up. While Sadness notes that such a thing has never been done before. Joy's attempt to awaken Riley goes horribly awry, and she ends up scaring her more than anything else. The workers in Dream Production then capture Joy, Sadness and Bing Bong, and lock them in Riley's subconscious, a huge dungeon that houses Riley's biggest fears. In response, they awaken Mr. Jangles, a colossal, monstrous clown from the depths of her mind, and directs him towards Dream Production, creating a nightmare that wakes Riley and jumpstarts the train of thought. Riley, Bing Bong and Sadness catch the train, and relax as they approach HQ, discussing their favorite memories. In HQ, however, upset and out of patience, Anger initiates his plan, and plants the idea to run away in Riley's head, which she takes. In order to fund the trip back to Minnesota, however, they need money, so Anger persuades Riley to steal her mother's credit card to finance her trip. This act causes one of Riley's islands, Honesty Island, to collapse, destroying her train of thought. Sadness, Joy and Bing Bong land near Family Island, and in panic attempt to make it back to HQ from there, even if it means risking a fall into the abyss from the narrow, slippery path back. All while in the real world, Riley packs her bag and runs away, intent on catching a bus to Minnesota. This action causes Family Island to begin to collapse, rendering that route back impassable. The tremors accidentally rupture a tube that takes needed memories to HQ, and Joy tries to use it to return. Initially it seems that Sadness and Bing Bong will accompany her, but Joy observes how the core memories turn blue as Sadness attempts to enter the tube, and she shoves Sadness out. Joy then says that Riley needs to be happy, and seals the way in, attempting to leave behind Sadness and Bing Bong if it means returning the headquarters in the process. The tremors rupture her tube though, launching Joy back towards Family Island. As it collapses, Bing Bong, attempting to catch her, is also pulled along, causing the two of them to be dumped into the abyss, while Sadness watches on the cliff, unable to help. Joy attempts to run up the cliff multiple times, but Bing Bong, already beginning to disappear, tells her that it is futile, and that in moments they will be forgotten. Joy, finally broken, begins to cry, huddled over the core memories that she cherished so. In the abyss, In the real world, Riley boards the waiting bus to Minnesota, just as the other emotions begin to have doubts. They discover, however, in an attempt to abort the plan at the last minute, that the idea has taken control of Riley completely, rendering their console, which they use to advise Riley, useless. Riley is on the bus, and none of the emotion present can make her leave. Joy, inspired, attempts to reconcile with Sadness, but discovers that Sadness has hopped onto a cloud and flown away, believing that she is useless and Riley is better off without her. Using the imaginary boyfriend creator in Imagination Land, Joy flings herself onto a colossal trampoline, and grabs hold of Sadness, before colliding with the glass of HQ, where the other emotions realize that Joy and Sadness are nearly back. Disgust begins to insult Anger, until his madness erupts, literally, in the form of a colossal blast of fire from his head, which Disgust uses to burn a hole through the glass, allowing Joy and Sadness to return. The other emotions plead Joy to get Riley to leave, but Joy instead encourages Sadness to try. Sadness is successful, and manages to detach the idea from the console, allowing her to direct Riley again. Under Sadness's guidance, Riley returns home to find her worried parents. Joy then hands Sadness all of the core memories, causing them to become sad, and Sadness, one by one, inserts them into the projector above the console, which causes Riley to think about them. This causes Riley to begin crying in front of her parents, admitting that she deeply misses her old life. This prompts her parents to comfort her, and the family reconciles and embraces. Sadness beckons Joy over, and the two simultaneously hit a button, causing a still crying Riley to smile in her parents' arms. This creates a new core memory, a mixture of Sadness and Joy, to form, recreating Family Island. An indeterminate time later, things have somewhat returned to normal. Riley's mind is full of new core memories, which are fusions of various emotions, disgust and fear, joy and anger, etc. The emotions have their console upgraded to the Teenage Edition, complete with new features such as swear words for anger, censoring for fear, etc., as well as a large button that reads puberty, to which Joy questions its use, then concludes that it probably isn't important. The emotions are happy, and Sadness is finally treated like an equal. Together they are adjusting to Riley's new life, and for the first time since the ordeal again, Riley is happy.